When we look at the big names of success, the feeling is that there is something different, something almost unreachable that separates them from the rest. This leads us to a curious question: what makes only one of people achieve their daring dreams and goals? It is as if society were an orchestra, and while the vast majority act as background vocalists, one is the main singer, the one who attracts all the spotlight. The difference is not in luck, but in the mindset and choices they make every day. The secret behind this one is no mystery, but something accessible to anyone. What makes them extraordinary is a combination of daily habits, growth mindset, and of course, unbeatable persistence in the face of challenges. They are not free of difficulty, but have the courage to move on, even when the winds are against. What separates success from mediocrity is not an innate talent, but the way each person deals with pressure, the fear of failure, and the opportunities that arise along the way. In this content, we will explore what makes the difference between this one and the rest. What can we learn from the people who stand out? How can we apply these principles to our own lives to achieve the success we want so much? Get ready for a deep dive into the successful mindset. Understand the resistance that everyone faces and discovering the habits that can transform your life. Are you ready for the journey? If you are willing to transform your mindset and habits, subscribe to the channel, enable notifications, and find the secrets that can change your future. The mind of the successful is undoubtedly one of their greatest assets. They don't think like most people. They adopt a differentiated mindset, focus on continuous growth and incessant search for improvement. While many are limited to following the flow, the successes ask key questions such as what can I learn from it and how can I improve? This growth mindset, such as Carol Dweck describes, is not just a positive thinking, but a deep belief that success is built through constant action and learning. But it is not only the mentality that differentiates them, but the way it translates into daily habits. They know that success is not the result of luck, but well-made and consistent choices. Therefore, they establish effective habits, such as waking up early, reading constantly, planning your day with clear goals, and always being ready to make quick decisions. Inhabiting this mindset and cultivating successful, even simple habits is what allows these individuals to stay on top, overcoming the challenges that life puts in their way. To start cultivating this winning mindset, it is essential that you connect with your why. Ask yourself what motivates you to act, even when the days are difficult. In addition, implementing simple habits, such as daily reading, task planning, and self-control practice. Start with a small step every day and see how gradually your mindset and habits can boost your success. Remember, the change begins from the inside, and when you decide to adopt a successful mindset, it all starts to align. Fear of failure is one of the most powerful and paralyzing emotions we can feel. It prevents us from taking action, binds us into the comfort zone, and makes us question our own ability. However, what many do not know is that this fear is one of the biggest traps for success. It is born of our need for control and insecurity about the future. But like everything in life, it is superable. The first step is to recognize that fear is normal and, more importantly, that it can be transformed into fuel for growth. Stephen Covey, in his famous theory of the circle of influence and circle of concern, teaches us a valuable lesson. We must focus our energy on what is under our control and not what is beyond it. Fear of failure often comes from trying to control all variables in a project or situation. But true freedom and success come when we learn to distinguish between what we can do and what we cannot, leaving aside worries and focusing on actions that really make a difference. If you are afraid to fail, remember that all great entrepreneurs and leaders have gone through it. The secret is not to avoid failure, but to learn from it and use it as a trampoline for success. Each error, each fall is an opportunity to improve. Do not allow fear of failure to be your block. Instead, see it as a chance for growth and transformation. Face the fear, take an attitude, and above all, continue on. Overcoming fear is the key to achieving your goals. Procrastination is a silent enemy of success. We all feel that impulse to postpone an important task, especially when it seems challenging or uncomfortable. However, what many do not realize is that procrastination is just a reflection of a larger internal block resistance. Steven Pressfield, in his book The War of Art, describes resistance as an invisible force that tries to prevent us from doing our true work, something that requires our dedication and our true essence. Resistance manifests itself in many ways, from laziness to self-sabotage, and the secret is to learn to recognize it. The big balcony is that the only way to overcome resistance is through continuous action. When we procrastinate, we create a cycle of inaction that drives us away from our goals. But by taking the first step, we break the cycle and start a chain of positive actions. The action is the antidote for procrastination. Do not expect the inspiration to arrive or the ideal conditions to act. Start with something simple and small, and soon you will realize that when moving, resistance begins to weaken. It is the constant action that leads to productivity and overcoming resistance. To overcome procrastination and resistance, it is crucial to have discipline and commitment to their goals. A useful trick is to create a daily routine that includes fixed times to perform your most important tasks. Remember, perfection is not the goal, but progress. The mere fact of acting, even if imperfectly, is what separates those who conquer from what are stopped. Put into practice right now to start, without waiting for ideal conditions. Resistance can only be defeated by persistence in action. Auto-sabotage is one of the biggest invisible obstacles to success. We are often our worst enemies, preventing us from moving on due to limiting beliefs or insecurity. Lack of self-confidence makes us question our skills and, in some cases, we create barriers that prevent us from acting. What's worse is that these barriers often arise without even realizing it until we come across the results of procrastination and fear. The good news is that self-sabotage can be overcome by understanding and confronting these beliefs, making room for new attitudes and behaviors. One of the keys to overcome self-sabotage is to embrace vulnerability, as Brené Brown suggests. She argues that true courage comes when we allow us to be vulnerable by recognizing our flaws and fears. When we avoid vulnerability, we create a facade of perfection that in the end only prevents us from growing. By accepting our imperfections, we can make bolder decisions, experience new ideas, and especially allow us to fail from time to time without defining our value. This, in turn, strengthens us and drives us forward. To combat self-sabotage, start practicing self-care and self-pity. If something goes wrong, instead of criticizing yourself, ask yourself what you can learn from experience. Creating a positive and healthy mental environment where failures are not seen as definitive failures is essential to unlocking their potential. Open to your vulnerabilities and understand that they are part of the growth process. True transformation begins when you allow yourself to be authentic and imperfect, without fear of risking and learning from each error. The difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset may be the factor that separates those that reach great deeds from those who are stagnant. The fixed mindset, as Carol Dweck explains, is one where we believe that our skills and talents are innate and unchanging. When we find difficulties, we tend to give up because a failure is seen as proof that we are not good enough. On the other hand, growth mindset is a belief that we can always learn, improve, and expand our skills through effort and perseverance. Adopting a growth mindset does not mean ignoring challenges or difficulties, but seeing them as learning and evolution opportunities. People with this mindset are more resilient, as they face failures not as an endpoint, but as a stage of the process. They understand that by persisting before obstacles, they are developing not only their skills, but also their self-confidence. Therefore, instead of being intimidated by difficulties, those who have a growth mindset appropriate them to achieve new heights. A practical way to cultivate growth mindset is to constantly seek learning. If you have failed something, ask yourself, what can I learn from it? How can I do differently next time? Moreover, celebrate the small victories, as each step towards its goal is a reflection of its growth. Change begins with a mindset, and focusing on evolving You not only improve your skills, but also strengthen your ability to face challenges with more confidence and determination. Decision-making is one of the pillars of success, and the way you deal with opportunities defines the course of your life. Many major entrepreneurs, such as Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, stand out not only for their innovative ideas, but for their ability to make quick and accurate decisions. Making a decision, even in an environment of uncertainty, is a sign of trust and action. The big mistake of companies like Yahoo and Nokia was precisely the delay in making crucial decisions, letting opportunities pass. Time, as we know, does not wait for anyone. Opportunities are everywhere, but often they go unnoticed or we are quick to ignore them for fear or insecurity. The difference between success and stagnation lies in the ability to identify these opportunities and act on them, even when conditions are not perfect. Making quick decisions, but with careful analysis, is what distinguishes leaders from followers. And as much as the fear of making mistakes can be great, it is important to remember that not deciding is by itself a decision with consequences. If you are seeking to achieve success, start training your decision-making. Do not allow indecision to paralysis. When you come across a choice, quickly evaluate your pros and cons. Trust your intuition and move on. Experience will come with time and, with it, a greater confidence in its decisions. Opportunities are like winds if you don't know how to take advantage of them. You can be stagnant while others fly. Be aware and do not hesitate to make the decision that can change your trajectory. What really defines the one of successful people? This is not just about luck, but a combination of essential characteristics that make them unbeatable. Among these characteristics are perseverance, self-confidence, and self-control. These individuals know that success is a marathon, not a 100-meter race. They face obstacles with courage and know that the key to overcoming any difficulty is in persistence. Self-confidence allows them to act firmly, even when circumstances seem adverse, and self-control prevents them from giving in to the temptation of easy or immediate solutions. Another crucial feature of the one is what many call grit, or tenacity. This inner force drives them to move on. Even when everything seems to indicate that it is time to give up, grit is the ability to resist, to continue advancing when most have stopped. This tenacity can be cultivated because it is not a natural gift, but a mental attitude. You can develop your own ability to persist, even in more challenging situations, focusing on your long-term goals rather than momentary difficulties. If you want to be part of this one success, the change starts with you. Start practicing self-confidence, making quick decisions, and acting consistently. Be patient with the process, knowing that success does not happen overnight. And above all, develop the grit necessary to overcome the obstacles. The path to success is not easy, but if you cultivate these fundamental characteristics, the journey will be rewarding and transformative. Establishing clear goals is one of the most powerful secrets to achieving success. Edwin Locke, one of the greatest motivation psychology experts, has developed the theory that specific and challenging goals are much more effective than those vague or easy to achieve. The key is to set goals that challenge their abilities, but are still achievable with effort and dedication. By having a clear goal, your brain begins to focus on solutions rather than loss and distractions. Clear goals serve as a compass, directing their actions and maintaining their energy concentrated on what really matters. However, it is not enough just to set goals. Persistence is what will ensure that you reach them. The way to the achievement of any goal is full of obstacles, difficulties, and often frustrations. But it is at this moment that persistence becomes crucial. This is not an innate talent, but a skill that can be cultivated. By focusing on the long run and continuing to move toward your goals, you will be developing resistance that will make you move regardless of the challenges that appear on the way. A practical way to cultivate persistence is to divide large goals into smaller and commemorative steps. This facilitates the process and maintains your motivation on the rise, because with each small victory, you reinforce your commitment to the ultimate goal. Remember, success is not a straight line, but a series of continuous steps. And when persistence meets well-defined goals, You create an unbeatable combination that will take you farther than you have ever imagined. Innovation is the engine that moves the world of business and entrepreneurship. Big names like Steve Jobs and Elon Musk have not achieved success with brilliant ideas, but also because they were bold enough to risk new technologies and markets. Innovation does not come from staying in the comfort zone. It requires a mindset open to new concepts and willingness to fail and learn from errors. However, innovation without a calculated risk can be as harmful as a lack of innovation. We need to weigh the possibilities, evaluate the risks, and then take the brave step to create something new. Peter Thiel, PayPal co-founder, emphasizes that true innovation comes from risking strategically rather than following the formula of what has already been done. Taking calculated risks means assessing what you are willing to lose and what you can earn when betting on something new. This is not about betting everything at once, but of making a careful evaluation of the pros and cons before you move on. This allows you to have the confidence you need to move, even when the road does not seem completely clear. Innovation requires courage, but also wisdom when deciding. The key to taking calculated risks is constant learning. By studying the market, listening to experts, and understanding the different aspects of your business, you create a solid foundation to make informed decisions. This minimizes the risks and increases the chances of success. But as any good entrepreneur knows, innovation also comes from making a mistake and adjusting quickly. By embracing the risk with intelligence, you not only put your ideas to the test, but you also position yourself as a leader capable of generating real transformations in your industry. Being productive does not mean being busy all the time. On the contrary, true productivity comes from focusing on the tasks that really matter. Tim Ferriss, author of Working 4 Hours a Week, introduced the famous 80-20 rule, which states that 80 of his results come from only 20 of his efforts. Identifying these essential tasks and focusing on them can transform your way of working. By eliminating excessive irrelevant activities, you make more time to dedicate yourself to what will really bring results. Efficiency is about working intelligently, no longer hard. Productivity is also directly linked to time management. Organizing your agenda so that you can reserve uninterrupted periods to focus on the most impactful tasks can make all the difference. This includes eliminating distractions and learning to say no to commitments or activities that do not contribute directly to your goals. A good technique is the use of Pomodoro technique, which consists of working intensely for 25 minutes straight from a short break. This helps maintain focus and energy throughout the day, keeping you productive without being overwhelmed. Also, productivity is not only in the amount of work done, but in the quality of what you do. Being efficient means delivering high-quality results in the shortest possible time, without losing attention to detail. This requires discipline and focus, but also knowing when to stop to rest and recover energy. Productivity should not be seen as a quantity game, but as a journey in which you work strategically and balanced to achieve your goals more effectively. Building lasting and trusted relationships is one of the greatest keys to success, both personal and professional. Robert Cialdini, a specialist in psychology of influence, talks a lot about the importance of reciprocity in human interactions. When you offer something genuine to someone, be it knowledge, support, or even a simple gesture of help, you create a trusting relationship and often reflects on positive return. Trust is the foundation of any partnership or business and can only be cultivated through honesty, integrity, and mutual respect. Social proof also plays a key role in building solid relationships. When people see others trust you and their abilities, they also tend to trust. This can be observed in the context of successful entrepreneurs, such as Jeff Bezos, who built his brand and confidence through a genuine commitment to customers. In the digital environment, customer ratings and testimonials play a similar role, helping to reinforce credibility. When people feel that others have already experienced a positive experience with you, confidence becomes more natural. To create and maintain these relationships, it is important to be authentic and show genuine interest in the people around you. Instead of seeing relationships only as an exchange of value, see them like a two-way road where you also learn and grow with others. The best connections are those where both parts support and help each other. By investing in your relationships, you not only create a support network, but also establishes a solid foundation for your long-term growth and success. Having clarity about your why is one of the most powerful forces you can cultivate in your life. When you understand why you're looking for a goal, whether professional or personal, you find an internal fuel that drives you to continue, even in difficult times. Simon Sinek, the author of Why, argues that the most successful people not only know what they do or how they do, but especially why they do. This why is its central motivation, what keeps the flame on when difficulties appear on the way. Why need not be something grand or philosophical, but it must be something that resonates with you deeply. For some, it may be the desire to create a family legacy. For others, it may be the urge to solve a problem in the world. When you connect with your purpose, the journey becomes more significant. You are not just work and pay the bills or win securities. You are pursuing something that has a genuine impact on your life and on the lives of others. This gives a solid reason to persist, even when difficulties seem insurmountable. To find out your why, start by reflecting on what really motivates you. Ask yourself, what would I do, even without being paid for it? What makes me get out of bed every day with energy? This introspection exercise not only brings clarity about your goals, but also helps align your actions with your deepest values. When you understand your why, your decisions become more aligned with your goals, making the way for the clearer and clearer success. Throughout this course, we have seen that success is not achieved by luck, but by conscious decisions, strategic action, and a persistent mindset. The one successful journey is full of challenges, but also of overcoming and learning. The true secret of success is to become irreplaceable, to develop unique skills, cultivate a growth mindset, and always be ahead of adversity. When you choose to transform and adapt constantly, you put yourself into a position where no one can take your place. Be persistent, confident, and authentic. Create a solid base of habits that keep you productive and focused, and are not afraid to innovate and take calculated risks. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams, and the way to achieve these dreams is made of daily steps. Remember, success is not a final destination, but a constant journey of learning and growth. And by adopting these successful one practices, you'll see that the impossible can be achieved. Now it's your turn to act. Don't wait any longer. Don't procrastinate. The moment to start is now. Make the choice of being someone who never gives up, adapts, and never loses focus on your purpose. You have all the tools to become irreplaceable. The only question is, are you ready to take the next step? If so, subscribe to the channel and enable notifications to continue receiving powerful tips that will accelerate your way to success.